the right to be left alone. And a fundamental principle of that right is the right to be free from unwarranted surveillance. So what this bill does, it's an erosion of what are already very diminished rights to privacy in New Zealand. What the bill does, as I say, is extends the powers to these powers from the police to some 70 other agencies with no real justification. They're all set out in the back of this monster, this multi-headed monster of the bill, 70 other agencies. But the question you've got to ask is why extend these spying powers to outfits like the Pig Marketing Board, the Meat Board, the Overseas Investment Commission, the Environmental Protection Agencies. It's as if these agencies have all come up with a shopping list of the things they've ever wanted. And then finally we've got something called examination orders, which weren't part of the Law Commission report that Warren Young wrote. They're really a National Party add-on. And again, like everything else, everything else in the bill, I say everything else, there's been no real justification for what's been done. And these examination orders apply to any offences punishable by imprisonment, or to be more specific, they apply to serious fraud offences or offences involving a conspiracy of 3 or more people. And what they force people who know something about or have information about those alleged offences to do is to answer police questions or face prosecution. So, for instance, you're a computer technician who's helped a gang member to install a computer system, then you have to show the police how to get into that computer system. You either do that under this examination order provision, or you face prosecution. Once, say, we take a situation once a gang member learns, or a gang learns that you've told the police how to get into that computer, then you could be dead meat. And you can think of all sorts of examples where somebody quite innocent has information and is faced with this decision about whether they should give information and the kind of consequences that they might face, even though they personally are totally innocent of any offence. And of course, those kind of provisions are totally fly in the face of the right to silence. I mean, what any lawyer tells anyone who is being asked to be interviewed by the police, unless there are very exceptional circumstances, you say, don't say anything, because it can very easily be used against you, and it will sound and look terrible when it's trotted out in court. It's amazing the number of people who don't bother to seek advice or don't take that kind of advice. Usually it works against them, unless there are some very good reasons why they want to tell the police the whole story. And so the threat that does to Kiwis is, as you can see, it puts people in an impossible position, answer police questions, or risk facing prosecutions. And you need an absolutely compelling justification for that sort of, for undermining that sort of right that's existed for centuries. And none has been given in the same way as adding 70 agencies. No justification for that's been given. And the last piece of legislation, as I say, framed to undermine civil rights, was pronounced quite unworkable, and it's still back at the drawing board. Dr. Young himself concedes that, as the evil genius behind this bill, that the existing powers that these government agencies have haven't really been scrutinised. I mean, take for instance the Overseas Investment Commission. Commission, if you look at the existing Overseas Investment Commission, there are four very succinct powers as to what the Overseas Investment Commission can do by way of search and seizure. What this bill does is it takes the whole of Part 4, and it does this to all the 70 agencies, and this is why it's so unworkable and clumsy. It takes the whole of Part 4, which is the search and seizure powers, and it simply plonks them into the Overseas Investment Bill, and it does that with these other 70 agencies. So instead of 4 quite concise provisions about what the Overseas Investment Commission can do, it's now got to cope with 82 sections, sorry, 87 sections, and it's just a mess. So they haven't actually looked at each agency, haven't looked at the Pig Marketing Board, or the meat, or the meat board, or the Overseas Investment Commission, and said, what do these agencies do? What search and surveillance powers do they actually need? They've simply done it the lazy way and taken Part 4 and simply plonked it into these 70 other empowering bills. And it's lazy, and it's just a mess. And the Law Commission, which is the outfit behind it, haven't even looked at it. So what you have at the moment is simply a blueprint for a surveillance society, and that's a pretty dangerous situation. Thank you.